Hey everyone, I hope all of you had a wonderful day and welcome to Planet Zoo and Ozaru for the tour of the finished Ozaru. It's a little bit weird knowing how much time I spent building on Ozaru to see it being finished, but also after the 8th of October, on the 8th of October actually, the beta goes down, so all of the parks will be wiped. So if you're watching this after the 8th of October, then all you're going to be seeing is gone. Because, well, when the parks get wiped, just everything gets destroyed. So that's also one of the reasons why I wanted to do this tour, just to give you even a little bit more insight into what went behind the buildings, how the buildings came together, but also just because I wanted to walk around the zoo in first person mode and just gush about the buildings. So let's get started. Oh, before we actually get started, I want to immediately warn you guys, the effect sounds are on, you actually hear it right now. The pop-up or the notification sounds are under the effect sounds, so you're going to hear the notification sounds, but also under the effect sounds is the waterfalls, some animal sounds, general ambient sounds, like just I wanted to have those sounds on just so that we have like even more of like an immersion into Ozaru, so that if we're like close to the snow leopards you can actually hear them and it's not just like silence. But sadly, because of that, we also have the notification sounds. So let's get started with the tour. So we are at the entrance of Ozaru, and it is a cave, and the first idea was to have like some kind of gate. So right now it's a cave, but the idea was to actually make a cave. And I'm actually happy that I didn't build a gate, because right now we have like a straight view onto the lookout point for the rhino and elephant habitat. And I actually haven't shown you guys what, or well, how it was built, because, well, I've shown you it in the first version of Ozaru, but the first version of Ozaru basically crashed and died because the save got corrupted. It didn't die because the zoo was bankrupt. Actually, the first version of Ozaru was actually very financially stable. But yeah, I haven't shown you guys the the new version of the lookout building, but it's pretty good. I'm also like really enjoying like the lighting effects of Planet Zoo, because like if you look into the sun, I'm going a little bit into it. Well, now it's actually gone, but you have that little bit of like a ring to it, or like the ring of sun, well, the beams. Let's just move on. So we're at the first crossing where basically the outskirts animal habitats are. With the outskirts, I mean, well, the outskirts of Ozaru, but also like the forested or more foresty animal habitats. So let's go straight to the left for the snow leopards. I am very pleased with their habitat. I don't see them right now. They're, well, actually, one of them, just when we went here, showed up. Anyway, so I'm happy with the snow leopard habitat, but it is a little plain, I'm going to be honest. Like there was this like higher up shelter area, but it's inaccessible to the snow leopards, but it looked too pretty to basically destroy and redo. But I'm happy with it because it's really like a forest area with the ransacked caravan, I would say. I think also, yes, they're going to be probably safe or auto saves. Yeah, I really like the snow leopards just because of their fuzzy tail. Just every animal in Planet Zoo so far, I think. Well, beyond the one that don't have fur, but most those that have fur are very fluffy, and I love fluffy animals. I can't wait for the red pandas. So yes, also with the first person mode, we basically just go through everything. But yeah, you will see this building 3 times in Ozaru because it's the staff building, and it was easier to duplicate this one than build 3 completely different ones. What was easier, but it's also a little bit time saving, and I made it just in a way that it's, well, it doesn't fall out of tone even in this forest area. Though one of the windows is clipping into the rocks. Oh, one of the keepers is also going to feed the snow leopards, I think. Or the Himalayan bears, which we're going to next. So yeah, going back to the crossing. Again, there are going to be autosaves. I can't help that. So sometimes the frames will stutter a little bit. But yeah, the Himalayan bears. The fuzzy teddy bears of Ozaru so far. I don't know what he's doing. He came up to us, greeted us, and just walked away without saying much. The best thing about the Himalayan bear habitat is I'm really just happy with all the dead trees, which is a weird thing to say, but just that it looks very forested, but also just very dead in a way. So yeah, they do have a little cave here, which they spent 80% of their time in that cave just sleeping. But yeah, I want to go down to like the water level, but we're going through the rocks. The first person mode goes through rocks, so we can't really go very close to the waterfront. I probably think that like the lemurs are dying. Actually, fun fact, right before I started this tour, all the African dogs died. So their habitat is actually empty, and I could refill it, but I don't have the conservation points for it, and like I said in the last people video, I'm not going to touch I'm not going to touch Ozaru up, and none of the animals right now are like pregnant or such. Like after I think 1.3, like the update, my animals just became sterile. I don't know. But yeah, this is the main reason why I wanted the sound effects on, because you can hear this little waterfall. And you also have like a nice view here of the Ozaru River. Actually, the view on the other side, this is, it's a little bit of like a rock bridge, but also not really because it's on ground level. But on the other side, we have a better view with the waterfall in the background, snow leopards in the background, and also this little tiny boat, which I just put there for fun. It's also like some people are like drying their clothes there. I wanted to actually have these like sort of like pillars more prominently in Ozaru, but eventually I stopped using them. So going down that path, not as interesting. Going down that path, also not as interesting. Well, if you're interested in the rivers, maybe a bit more, but we're going first to the habitats and then the central area, and then we'll go around Ozaru, probably in like a clockwise manner. The mouse is sometimes not working. Yeah, Planet Zoo, or at least the beat up. This is one of the first times I actually see the inspector, and she's kind of creepy. If anyone has watched, like, I think it's like the Penguins of Madagascar 3. There were so many movies about them. It looks like one of those characters from there. If you know the movie which I'm talking about, do tell me. It would be fun because I forgot the name. Oh, the tapir just bounced that ball. But yeah, going into the tapir habitat, they threw their box into the water, but the idea was actually to have like a barn feel of this habitat, and it looks a bit like a barn, but if I really wanted a barn feel, I probably should have changed the tapirs for the buffaloes. Yes, but I think the tapirs are just a lot cuter. I don't know what he's doing. He's taking a sand bath, I think. But yeah, this is also the only habitat, with a nice view of the pagoda, but also the only habitat with palm trees. So yeah, that was interesting. But anyway, that's most of this habitat actually. Like the first habitats, like the P-file or the former P-file habitat and the Warthog habitat, to me aren't that special. Mostly probably because they were the first habitats and I was still figuring out all the pieces. But yes, this was formerly the P-file habitat, and now it's, actually both type of turtles and tortoises, tortoises actually, are in here. That was a mistake, but they seem to get along, so I just left them in here. And actually these are the first tortoises I placed in here. None of them have died. I've heard a lot of people complain about like, oh, you need to place 1,000 feeders in their habitat because they are too slow to get to the food. These aren't. But yeah, the buildings, pretty basic. This was like, I thought of like a little bit of like a shrine-ish thing, but yeah, it was built for the peafowls, and peafowls actually went in here. The tortoises didn't. Again, like the cliffs in the background are like I think the thing that make most of the views in Ozaru great. But yeah, you might also see a lot of keepers and a lot of cleaners, especially because I wanted to have Ozaru very clean for this tour. But yeah, you can in a way see the difference between the pagoda and the lookout building. You can see the difference in like how like easy I found it to work with the pieces. So you can really see that when I was building the lookout building, I was a lot more, how would I say, comfortable with the pieces. And actually, this is completely like, this building has no functionality. It was actually meant to go into the tapir's habitat, but that never went to pass. Also, I'm actually very curious because most of my buildings, well, all of them, have used the climbable habitat pieces for their roofs. So if you actually place one of these buildings in like the lemur habitat, they will probably go crazy and they will be probably able to climb every building, but they will probably go crazy with these buildings. Finally. Yeah, that's also sometimes happens. I think some of the animals are just showing off just because we're touring, because yeah, I've never seen him do that, and now that we are like going into his habitat, he's well, actually I think it's a sea, but yeah, again, many animals actually died right before I started the tour. But yeah, the Warthog habitat, I think there's only one of them right now, but it's kind of plain. It is a little bit yeah, here I was still really worried about like, not having too many plants so that they, didn't dislike their habitat. But, when we go to the Gharial and the Bengal tiger habitat, that went all out of the window. Actually, I think right after the first habitat, so after this one, the peafowl, or the former peafowl and the tapirs, that just went out of the way. I really like just the effect that, like, the sprinkler, and then you can see that the sprinkler actually creates a tiny rainbow. But yeah, this is this is like the inside of most of my buildings. Actually, whoops. Let's move on. Or that's actually, no, that's actually a mistake. Whoops. A little bit of like, I think a little bit too low of canopy, I would say. Well, a little bit. But yeah, the central square. There's a little bit of a fountain. I also don't think I've built that on screen, so you will see some new things today, guys. But yeah, I went for a little bit of like a market feel around the fountain, and like it a little bit overgrown. Like everything in Ozaru is like a little bit heavy on the plants, also a little bit heavy on the rocks, I've been told. But because, well, in the biome that we have been given for the Bira, the rocks or like the plain fields or not, the ground textures aren't really working for like the architecture style that Ozaru has. So, every little bit of like change in elevation had to, well, in my eyes, had to make use of rocks just to have the right coloring. And I'm really happy that I've changed all of the buildings. Like, that first Gulpy shop was horrible. But yeah, it feels really alive with just all of like these clutter. Hello, Inspector. I hope you are giving me a good rating. Well, Ozaru is actually doing pretty good on like animals. It's not doing good on education and donations. Well, it's doing good on donations, but some of the later habitats don't have donation boxes. But yeah, we're going back into, well, the lookout building. I'm quickly going into it because I'm not probably going over the bridge. I cleaned out the zoo, and I don't know what you guys are doing here, but you seem to be fine. think this is an autosave. Yes, autosave. We're not going to be able to escape those. But yeah, it's a little bit plain from the inside, but I mean, just look at this view. I'm also, yeah, that's what's holding me back from going further. But yeah, it's similar to the first lookout point we built, but you can really see the difference in like how comfortable I became with just the architecture style and the pieces. Now going clockwise, because we're going clockwise, but well, probably well, let's just keep going. Anyway, so this is the exhibit building that I didn't show you guys. This is the first version that I talked about in the final speed build video. And it houses the Goliath frog, like you can see him here. Actually, this is probably one of the first times you can see the exhibit animals at first glance, because that one is just giant. And the other frog. But I don't... Actually, yes, there it is. Yes, I'm also recording the mouse or the cursor just because I can point out things. Yeah, it is a little bit cluttered, and just like, for some reason, just this view reminds me of Snow White's cottage. It doesn't look anywhere like it, but maybe just because of the doors that I used as windows. Let's move on. Yeah, I didn't realize that those... Oh. Yeah, I already said I'm not going to touch Ozaru, but there are going to be things that I will probably have missed. So, you know, if you actually retexture the ground underneath the pot, grass shows up. Because, yeah, I hope it doesn't when we actually go into the full release. But this might be just like also, you know, making an excuse for this. Because we are going into the Gharial habitat. And it was meant for this one to be a little bit like dilapidated. You can like see one of the Gharials. I think there's the other one, but he's behind all of it. I hope we actually can get into it. But yeah, the female Gharials are actually tiny. I hope, yes, we can get through the water and on like this, but we are going to clip through the rocks, so I'm not going to be able to very closely go to the rocks, just because we will just go through it. But this is, yeah, I think on this part, or like, well, the Gharial habitat, I did get a comment like, oh, you might abuse the rocks, but that's really just because, well, I used the big rocks as filler, and then all the smaller rocks to just add to it and make it a little bit like everything is its own and it's not just copying. But yeah, as I said before, like the original terrain textures didn't really do it for me, so that's why I went crazy with the rocks. Also because most of the rivers, by the point that this habitat was built, were like encased in rocks. I thought like, alright, I could go back and delete a lot of rocks, or go with it and go completely overboard. I mean, I also went overboard with the nature. So yeah, this is a little bit of like a harbor. This is way too low actually for like scale wise. Even Planko scaling, or Planet Zoo scaling, it's a little bit low, even though Planet Zoo is usually, well, anything in the Planet franchise is usually way overscaled. Ah. Like, if I put the effect sounds off, you couldn't hear that. Though I might also be talking over it right now. So anyway, going back, like, this is the, well, I can already see one of the mechanics isn't doing his work, but the little farm, or like the village, like, I still don't know why I made lotus flower farm thingies, but yeah, it feels just very precious in a way. Yeah, I'm just trying to go quickly to the monastery because I'm going to be there for like 20 minutes. But I might want to give you quickly like an inside look of the village. Yeah, this is like the coffee shop, and it actually is extended into like one of the original buildings of Ozaru. So here you can really see I am very comfortable with the building, and this was really like I'm very new to Planet Zoo and all its building pieces. But even from inside here, not looking at this building because that's also one of the earlier buildings, it looks like a village. And just with the way how the lookout building is popping out, it looks just like an extension of the village. It doesn't look very like extremely weird. Actually, if I'm correct and we go here, well, we're going to move to the exhibit building again. But like, this is how I want things in Ozaru to function, because if you go here, the monastery, when you look at it from the habitat, it looks very impressive, but if you look from it from this point, it just looks like an extension to the village. It's not big enough to be really weird. Like the elephant building, which is inaccessible to elephants, which is kind of ironic, is a little bit more outlandish. The pagoda is a little bit more outlandish, but also like from here it doesn't look as outlandish. So that was really just like, when you build something and you want everything to be like cohesive and work together, look at it from a distance, look at it from every angle. I usually do that. We're not going to be able to actually go up to the monastery because, well, we're going to clip through the rocks. Also, there's one of the Bengal tigers. The jumping animation is a little bit weird sometimes still. I probably might go back to the, well, the monastery. Actually, like, I usually don't want to do this, but no, actually, like, we're going to do this afterwards. I wanted to go out of like first person mode, but then, you know, I need to name another person Tejitcam or another staff person Tejitcam, and yeah. But yeah, back into their habitat. A little bit of like a farm. He just Supermaned into frame like you really want attention. But a little bit of like an overgrown farm thingy. And then actually, like, I really thought like, oh, the keepers aren't going to be able to get there. Whoa. As I said, we're going to clip through the rocks. But they don't go that way. They go through the waterfall, so the waterfall is also accessible to them. And then go there, because there's like a blood pumpkin there. Actually, let's go quickly into there. Oh, you guys really just want to be in every frame, don't you? No, you're just sleeping. But yeah, just a view if you go outside of the cave with the waterfall and just all the effects to make it look a little bit realistic. We're going to clip through the rocks again, and we are going to go outside. So yeah, that was most of the monastery. Actually, no, I'm going to gush about the monastery. Because it looks alive. It looks like a village on its own. Only because I know it's a monastery do you actually realize it's a monastery. It could just as well be a village. But yeah, it's really just, it's not completely of a copy of like the picture that I saw. But then I don't really like to build like complete copies. Like, I want to put my own twist on the buildings. Still, those roofs sort of remind me of, oh, the camera is again doing weird. So yeah. Oh, now we can immediately see the keeper goes to the waterfall. So yeah, my keepers don't have to take a shower. Well, they do, but they just need to deliver food to the tigers. But yeah, I'm really liking just how everything just like, it's very chaotic, but in a good way that is very lively. Also, yes, I know that this tour is going to be very long. It's going to be probably my longest video ever, but I just wanted to show you guys everything. Again, if you're not really interested in the commentary, I am going to also make a cinematic overview where it's just like beautiful shots and music and such. Oh yeah, the elephant building, which ironically isn't available or accessible to elephants. I wanted to have like a little bit of like a, you know, how do you call that? But just, I don't know. I just wanted this, and it looks somewhat nice. I'm going to go there last, actually. So I'm going around again. But yeah, actually, we can quickly pop into the elephant's head. No, we can't from here, because water. Well, not water, but... Alright, all the other animals were nice, and then you have to poop right in front of us. Also, yes, the poop goes... Yeah, the poop has functions, and You are showing off because you're on the rock. But yeah, the staff actually used this bridge to get over here, but we have a rhino, the inaccessible elephant building, and if I'm correct, we are able to go up here, yes. And the elephant waterfall. I think the second waterfall, because the one at the start of the tour that I showed as like the perfect view from that stone bridge was actually the first waterfall. But I'm still very happy with this one. The camera again, like I need to sometimes move the mouse or like zoom in and out to get it working again. Yeah, this habitat is for some reason always full of poop. Like there are two keepers probably for just this one habitat. Going into this, yeah, this bridge isn't finished. I never planned to actually build, well, I plan to build the bridge as path, but not as an actual bridge. That bridge is actually finished. And yeah, you do have like a nice view of like the surrounding area. Again, you know, everything is always built for the views on my channel. So yeah, again, if you've watched the last people video, you know why I'm going to leave that place up last. Again, I don't know why you guys are doing that, but we'll move on to the most annoying animals in Planet Zoo right now, the lemurs. I think most of them are alive. I think. There are also no boxes, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, they are annoying. But for some reason, like I have times that they are completely fine and times that they are just completely bugged out. But yeah, this is also, I don't think I've shown you guys how the lemur habitat in version 2 of Ozaru, because version 1, the save got corrupted and I'm very sad about that, but also in a way happy because we've got the new version of the lookout building and just Ozaru in general right now. But yeah, the lemurs, their habitat is really just, I needed to build this just to get money. And you can a little bit see that. And also I needed to delete a lot of stuff because keepers just couldn't get them their food. It would just disappear. So right now this is actually an empty habitat because as I said, all the African wild dogs just before I started recording the tour just died. It was just like, oh, camera is going. We don't want to be here. Yeah. I don't know. Also don't know why I made that sound, but yeah. Probably blowing some ears out. But yeah, the first thought when building this habitat was actually to have this be water. Like it's actually made up to be like a little bit of lake, but they got stuck there. And then I just thought like, alright, I'm done with this. I removed it. They can actually get into this building. Like they can go up this ramp and take shelter here, but they mostly like to be here. For some reason. I would likely stay in this building instead of there. But yeah. Now going here, like I said we're going clockwise, but I've just abandoned that. But that's mostly also because, yeah, going clockwise we needed to go for one thing. Another lotus farm, just because why not? I'm actually, I'm going to go in here and then move around back. But yeah, again, this staff building is just 3 times in Ozaru. I'm really happy with how this this building turned out. It's very plain, but I'm very happy, and also like this, like these are the first windows I ever used in Planet Zoo, and it's in a way fun that they have made a return. But yeah, you can see in some, or actually all of the buildings probably, some conflicting textures when you move around. You can see that it's like glitching because the two textures are like right on top of each other, so they are competing to, you know, be shown. So right now that's the central, well, just the central plaza, the pagoda, so we know where we are. This is a little bit of a farm area. I wanted to make like a scarecrow just because I thought it was funny. But it's certainly like a small little thing that I just enjoy a lot. A little bit of like a farm. I still don't really remember the word that I wanted to use for that, but yeah, you have a little bit of like a view of like the Himalayan bear habitat. I can't get too close to the water because, you know, I'm going to clip through the rocks. And yeah, that's like the back entrance into Tianopolis, I would say. Again, I like to have all my parks and zoos connected in some way by, you know, referencing them or just in my head having a story to go with it. So also, it's a drainage point for all the water from all of the 3 waterfalls in Ozaru. Actually, I think 4 if you count the tiny one. But this is the second exhibit building, which I'm really happy with, like, especially with the windows. But you can see how it's like a little bit similar to the first exhibit house. And this is actually, I think if I'm correct, the last building I built. After this building, I basically built a farm and then Ozaru was almost completely done. Actually, that's false. After that, I had to do all these cliffs. Yeah, I didn't show you guys that because then we had a 2-hour video. And I don't think anyone wants to stay for a 2-hour video. But anyway, what is it with the exhibit animals? And like most of the time you can't find them. And right now, like the camera's on and they are all just there. But yeah, I wanted to have just a snake. For some reason, like, if you find snakes scary, you might dislike this view, but I am not scared of snakes. I actually think they're pretty adorable, even though that one probably could kill me. Let's see if we can find the scorpions. I don't think so. Actually, yes, I see one. Again, I have no trouble finding them for some reason. Though that might be just because we're recording. But anyway, so I like the rock wall just because it blends in with the... Whoa. Again, the camera is freaking out. Or not freaking out, it's stuck. But it blends in with the walls of the exhibits. Which is really what I wanted to go for. Then just, you know, I wanted to distract from the wooden ceiling by just adding some... Well, they're probably just like rocks hanging from the ceiling. But yeah, going back because I think that is almost everything. I'm probably going to go through and watch from, well, basically from the higher view or like normal view. I'm not going to show like different weather in Ozaru because Ozaru is really meant to be watched with cloudy weather. But yeah, this is like the extra bit to the elephant and rhino habitat just because the original bit was way too tiny. You can already hear the wolves. They are already calling for us. But yeah, you can see a little bit of like the wall sticking through. And yeah, the elephants really just like to ram the walls. But anyway, so I think that were all the habitats except for the wolves. Yeah, I'm really going there last, and I remembered that I could go through here. So yeah, the wolves are actually like, they are the loudest animal in Ozaru. Like if I was near the elephant habitat, I could constantly hear them. Not a notification sound, but you know, they probably just don't like being called out as the loudest animal in Ozaru. But this is one where storytelling was really heavily used because of this. This is really the base of the pagoda that you see there. And then I just tore it up, basically just split it in half and left the other part just there. So yeah, and also the fog just, you know, to have that like really dark feel. And then the 4 graves. And yes, again, it's meant for, you know, what you think. 2 adults, 2 children. It's a sad story, but it's somewhat makes Ozaru come alive. Like also having the dark parts of Ozaru. Then going through the keeper entrance. A little bit more of these pillar gate thingies. I didn't use them too much actually. but they are there. So I think we had everything, if I'm correct. Like we had the exhibit buildings, the two main other habitats there, the Bengal and the Gharial, wolves, rhino. I think we had everything, like the dead African dogs for... Again, I don't know why they just suddenly, like, I had two of them and suddenly both of them were gone. Oh yeah, that place. Again, I'm not going to say what is going to be there, but I really like just how, like, the vegetation of the mystery land is just popping through. This might give you even more clues on like what the theme of the mystery land is going to be. And yes, it is going to feature floating rocks, because I actually planned the mystery land as for the beta, but eventually it just went into like, yeah, this is a bit too much for the beta right now. The beta's not the most stable thing, so yeah. And yes, it was really planned out. Like the moment the wolves were added and I saw like, alright, I can make this. This was immediately planned. Though I never really talked about it until we built it. But anyway, going back, like thinking of like things that I haven't shown you guys. And actually I am going to go into, let's wait, normal mode. Yeah, we are right back at the entrance. I'm going to hide the interface. But yeah, I made it so that I will go extra slow so that you can really just get everything. But this is also like easier to make, like go through the rivers. But yeah, this is like the, whoa, autosave. But this is the first waterfall actually. Well, second if you take the tiny one over there. And yes, after the cliffs, there's nothing. Like if you go out from Ozaru, well, there's the like pieces of the Himalayan Monastery. Oh, that reminds me, we need to go back to that building. Yeah, I really just love it. Like from the other side, it looks horrible. It's just decor. But from this side, it looks really alive. Like with just the extensions, which are not all the same. Just like with some terraces. And actually, like all the terraces are accessible, except for this one, because there's no door. But I didn't want to go through it and build more of the monastery, because then again, longer video. I generally like to have my videos around around 25 minutes, and that will make it 30. But then the later videos have become like 30-minute videos. So yeah, but I really like it. Just also with the towers, like these were the only building where I could add towers without it looking crazy. But it looks so pretty. And just the color, like you can add color to buildings, but if they are bright colors, they're usually like, they are very like boom in your face. But even here, like these are very bright colors actually, but they don't really, you know, because they are the only colors in there, except for like flags and the like wash lines and such. Because they are the only colors, they don't really boom in your face, and it's actually a very rustic building, I would say. But yeah, it's my favorite building, even to this day. Like even with the villages, I'm going to go like in a little bit of like a view. Like this is what you can actually expect from the cinematic overview. Just this, with music, of course. Just going over all the buildings, like. I really love how Ozaru turned out. Like, I rushed the cliffs a little bit, but the rest is just like, everything is how it's meant to be. Even like the broken bridge, just because, you know, the full game isn't accessible until the 5th of November. And I hope to be able to show you guys something on the 6th of November, but that mostly depends on like schedule and college and such. But yeah, I think that was all for Ozaru. I'm quickly panning around to see if I missed something. Like we're also reaching the 40-minute mark, but I don't think I've missed something. And if I do, please do tell me down below in the comments if you think like, oh, I want to get a better view, because I'm going to, well, make the cinematic overview. So if you have something like, oh, I really want to see the building from this angle or that angle, I'm actually going to just give you this view of Ozaru. Like, I really love that it's like in a crater, it's an island, and it's very fairy tale or very like mystical thing. But yeah, back to what I was talking about. If you want to have like a view, or if you're like, you know, you didn't show the building that like, you know, you didn't show the pagoda from this angle, I would really like to see this angle. Please do tell me down below in the comments, because then I can put it in the cinematic overview so that you still see the building from this angle, or from like a certain angle you want. So yeah, I think I've covered everything. I didn't really go into depth on like the first 3 habitats, because I think they're kind of plain, and they, you know, they are really just you can really see the difference between the first few habitats and the last few. Like the Gharial habitat and the Bengal tiger one were really special to me, just because I really knew the pieces by then. But anyway, that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed this little tour where I was just gushing about all the buildings, about the village that we have created that is Ozaru. And I really hope you just enjoyed Ozaru in general. We will be back with more Planet Zoo as soon as the game releases. But in the meantime, I hope you're still happy with, well, Tianopolis. Tianopolis is still going on, even though I'm probably going to take Wednesdays off. Like, Wednesdays is usually the time when I post Tianopolis, but I'm going to probably take that day off just to kind of rest after all that went into Ozaru and finishing it. But yeah, again, I hope you enjoyed Ozaru. I really hope you enjoy just everything we have built so far. And I hope you will, just as me, look forward to when the full game is released and what we can build then. I hope you have an amazing start of your day, or just start of your week by this tour. And I just hope you all have a very, well, amazing week. Again, I really need to make this outro a little bit shorter, but again, like, I hope you just liked the video. I hope that, well, that you don't forget to actually like the video, because again, it does help out a lot. There was just the notifications out, but again, just, yeah, the amount of support for Ozaru is just breathtaking. And just, you guys are all amazing. Now, I need to stop gushing about Ozaru and about you guys. Again, you're still all amazing to me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and bye bye.